Yes, I have.
At this time, I would like to call the meeting to order. In the absence of our president, who we are hoping will soon arrive, and he can take over, but since he's not here, I will start the meeting. We do need to have one item moved ahead on the agenda this evening because we have some guests with us that do have to leave. So since the meeting has been called to order, I am going to go down to letter H, the County Commissioner's presentation of ARPA grant awards. So if you would come forward and take care of that.
Good evening, everyone. It's good to be here. I'm Ray D'Agostino, the Vice Chair of the Board of Commissioners. Fortunately, my colleagues couldn't make it tonight. I know my one colleague, Commissioner Parsons, is with his children tonight at a school event, and Commissioner Yoder was supposed to be here. She may be caught in traffic, but you have me. What more do you need, really? One of us. So anyway, I'm here to present you with a check for $125,000 to go toward your stream bank restoration project along the Conso River here in Millersville Borough. It was one of several projects that we awarded some of our county ARPA dollars to in round two. We did a first round. We had about 100 applications during that round. And in round two, we had about 80 applications. So, and there's my other colleague, Commissioner Yoder now. You know, what we were trying to do with the ARPA dollars was to make sure that we are looking at long-term transformational types of projects, right? Things that will keep Lancaster County the special place that it is. And to build on the successes that you all, as municipal officials, have been doing for many years. As you know, I think you know, I was a former municipal manager for about 20 years, involved in municipal government, so I understand what it is that you do on a day-in, day-out basis. And to support you in a project like this that will not only, you know, keep the soil and the great land, which is so rich and fertile, some of the most fertile non-irrigated land in the entire country, which is why we have such great farmland and such great produce. And we are also working to clean our water. And not just for you know, today, but for tomorrow, to make sure that our water is clean and available for future generations, which will also help the Chesapeake Bay, but it also helps you, of course, you know, that we're all under the requirement to clean up our water, and especially our stormwater, under federal and state requirements. So you're checking all the boxes, quite frankly, when you're looking at a project like this. And we really appreciate your leadership in this. We're proud to partner with you on a project like this. And there is a check here, I promise. You can't cash it. But it looks good. And,
you can't take a picture of it and cash it either.
Exactly. That's a new thing now.
Right.
So we do have, I think you should have gotten a check, or you will get a check. If it's not, it's in the mail. Trust me. You got it?
Yes.
All right, it's not in the mail. All right, well, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Commissioner Yoder.
Okay, thank you, Ray. Okay, well, thank you, everyone. And so pleased to be here, really excited. First, say hello to everyone, too. Your new county commissioner. Been in the job for like 3 or 4 months now. So super excited about it and happy to serve you. So feel free to contact me for anything that you might need. You know how to get a hold of me, just contact the government office and you'll be able to email me or we can meet, whatever. But this was one of the first things that I did as county commissioner was approval of the second round of ARPA funds. It was quite competitive. It was one of those things where when we first started reviewing it, it was overwhelming because almost so many projects were submitted and they were all so important to our community and very valuable. So it was really difficult for us to make a decision on what we, you know, the ones that we were able to select. So really, really glad, proud, and thankful for you to submit what you submitted and for what you're doing. You know how very important it is. I look at projects of what you had submitted related to how it cleans water and how it's affecting our community in the Chesapeake Bay as being very instrumental, I think, in one of the main goals that we have as a county. And one of the main goals that really crosses most municipalities, and that you're all working together. So the way we look at it is that there's no small project as it relates to what needs to happen with making sure that our water is clean and reducing the sediments that are going into the water. So if everybody does their part, I think it's going to make it a little bit easier for us to be able to achieve our goals. And so really excited about your project. On another note, I'm really a strong advocate for public health. If you know my background, I'm a nurse by background, and I've worked at Lancaster General for 35 years, mainly in the role of community health, and understanding the importance of public health overall, but also understanding the importance of clean water and clean air. Those are the two things that are really important to us to function, basically in our community. And it was actually the origin of public health. Was John Snow with the water and the pump and the cholera outbreak. So they realized that the cholera outbreak was identified leading to one pump. They removed that pump so people weren't drinking from it anymore, and it cured what happened with cholera. So here we are today, and you're looking at cleaning up the waters here. So there's a really strong connection. So I just want to say thank you and for everything that you do, and particularly for this project. Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of Millersville Borough and the Millersville Borough Council, we want to thank you for the consideration of this project. We're very pleased to be receiving these funds, and I know that they will be used wisely to work on this stream restoration project. I thank you very much.
We get a picture of the problem.
You can get a picture with anyone.
Anyone want to come out from behind, or you want to?
Council members.
Yeah, this is the exercise portion of the program.
Get
up.
We're getting them.
All right.
No, no.
Come on, Mary. No, I don't want it. I'll come with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And again, we thank you for that presentation, and the money will, of course, go to good use, as we know. If you look at your agenda this evening, you will see that it is slightly different order than normal, because we do have to have 2 public hearings, and we are going to go forward with that at this time before we have our pledge to the flag and our silence and so on. So the first thing that is on the agenda for a public hearing is the ordinance to amend the sewer tapping fee. And at this time, I will open this up to comments from the public. If you were aware, this would all have been on the borough website, so you would have had an opportunity to read this and hopefully understand exactly what it means. If you don't, I know that Les is here and he'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have. So would anyone like to make any comments at this time? This is unusual. Okay, well then I would assume that we can go to a consideration and vote on the ordinance. Would anyone like to make a motion to accept this ordinance?
I will make the motion to accept the ordinance.
Second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to accept the revising the tapping fees for our sewer. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried. And the next item is a public hearing, ordinance to amend the stop intersection ordinance. And this too was online for anyone who cared to read it. And this is really just something very short to amend the code of ordinances to revise residential parking permit regulations. So it's online. Does anyone have any questions? It's time for public comment. No one has anything to say, so we will go on to considering a vote on amending this ordinance. Do I hear someone make the motion?
I will make the motion to amend the ordinance.
Is there a second? Second by Darlene. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? The motion carries. And at this time then, we will move on to our usual agenda, and we will please stand for the pledge to the flag and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. At this time, we would like to approve the minutes from our April 9th meeting. We received those online. Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the April 9th council meeting minutes.
Do I hear a second? It has been moved and second to approve the minutes from the April 9th, 2024 regular council meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried. Next is our opportunity for citizens' requests or concerns, and we will have a 5-minute limit. Would anyone care to address the council this evening? Yes, sir. Please state your name.
My name is Richard Ross. I live at 55 North 3rd Street. My concern is twice this week I was last week, I was hit by people coming down Lee Torch Street at the stop sign, which they don't know there is one, and they continue on, and they almost run into people. They always run that stop sign. My question, or my thought is, maybe they should put a thick white line across here and write stop, because they don't even see the sign. That it would make them aware that they should stop at that intersection. Now, I know the back part of it is probably Manor Township, but for just putting white paint down and writing the word stop there might cause some attention to some of these people who go through that stop sign, or move the stop sign to a different position, but you don't have much room to do that. So.
And this is at Frederick and...
No, the end of North 3rd Street, when you're heading south, you go to the intersection that we just fixed, north and south.
Oh, to do that dog leg?
Yeah, but they come down off Leetworth, and they never stop, or if they do, they slow down to 20 miles an hour. Okay.
Thank you. And I'll pass that on to you, Rebecca, and you can check with Streets on that and see what we might be able to do to amend that situation. Any other citizens who would like to address the council at this time? Okay, you're not seeing anyone interested in doing that. We've already done the county commissioner's presentation, so we will move on to the Lancaster EMS presentation regarding 100 East Charlotte Street. Is someone here for that?
So unfortunately, at the last minute, Bob May, who's the executive director, was unable to attend, so he sent me his comments, if I can read them for council.
Please do so.
With the planned early 2025 consolidation of administrative support, educational programs, communication center, and fleet maintenance operations at 715 Fairview Avenue early in 2025, Lancaster EMS will be selling our Millersville property located at 100 East Charlotte Street. The property will be listed by PPM Real Estate over the next week or so. A for sale sign will be placed in front of the ambulance station. An additional sign will be placed in front of the property, notifying the community that 911 operations are moving just 2 blocks to 237 North George Street in either late 2024 or early 2025. Lancaster EMS will be leasing the first floor of that property, 237 North George Street, from Millersville University to accommodate our EMT and paramedic personnel and 2 vehicles. This lease space was formerly the Millersville University Police Station. They will continue to operate a basic life support ambulance and an advanced life support squad from that location. The emergency vehicles will be parked at the rear of 237 North George Street. Information related to their new planned headquarters on Fairview Avenue, the selling of the Millersville property, and the relocation of the 911 operations to the university will be shared across their social media outlets. There will not be a disruption of service, and they have posted information about this for the public and other stakeholders to ask questions on their website, or you can email the executive director directly. And if council members have any direct questions that I can bring back to Mr. May, I'm happy to do so. But that is what they were going to tell us this evening.
Okay, does anyone from council have any questions concerning that? It seems pretty straightforward that they're going to be moving. So thank you for that report, Mr. May. Council appointed officials code of conduct. I am sad to say that we have had a few times during meetings and or before or after meetings, and not just council meetings, but sometimes other meetings that are being held by the borough, where we have had people who have been somewhat disruptive and not accepting of others' views or positions and unwilling to accept them and move on or what have you. Just a lot of things like that. So at one of our more recent meetings last month, there was a young lady here who said that she was very dismayed by the way some of us in the audience specifically were treated. And she suggested and wrote a letter to us saying that she thought we needed to have a code of conduct for members of council, for members of other committees that sit here and deal with the public, and also for the public. So our president, Joe Lane, has written up the following for us to adopt. The Borough Council, the legislative and policy-making body for Millersville Borough, hereby establishes a code of conduct for the members of council, as well as committees or associations with membership appointed by council. The code of conduct defines a set of expectations to promote civility and professionalism in order to more effectively discharge the responsibilities entrusted to them by the council and or the citizens of the Borough of Millersville. In keeping with the ideas of civility and professionalism, members are bound by the following rules. Members may not address one another directly. Comments are to be directed to the president or chair. Members will not speak over one another during discussion or debate. The president or chair reserves the right to limit discussion to those members that have been formally recognized. No member will be denied a reasonable time to have the floor during debate or discussion. Members are disallowed from engaging in debate or discussion once a single roll call vote has been cast. Debate and action of council in executive session are to be held in the confidence among the members and those in attendance. Members will not use excessive or directed obscenities or hate speech. Members will comport themselves with respect and professionalism during public comment periods. Members must recognize that the Code of Conduct is designed to permit civil discourse in the effectuation of the responsibilities of the offices held. As such, This code should not be used to unduly limit productive discourse, silence dissenting opinions, or obfuscate the business of their bodies. It is the intent of the Code of Conduct only to support public engagement in dignified and deliberate manner and ensure all individuals elected or appointed are provided with an opportunity to engage in the discourse. Infractions of the Code of Conduct will be reviewed by Borough Council at the next scheduled session. Any debate or infractions, as well as votes taken related to such infractions, will be held in executive sessions. Would anyone on council like to comment to this particular code that has been written? I think it covers it very well. And then, Rebecca, do we need to vote to accept this?
So not this evening.
Okay, next.
To accept something like this, we do need to do that by resolution. So what would be the next step would be us crafting a resolution, having our solicitor craft a resolution that accepts that document as
Okay.
a code of conduct.
And do you expect that will be by our next meeting?
Yes, this should be a relatively simple resolution.
Okay, then
Madam
if,
Vice Chair, quick question.
yes,
When this is all finalized, will every member of every commission receive one, as well as any new members coming on? And is there a read and sign that they've understood what that code of conduct is?
I would say at this point, anybody who is serving on the council or any of our member of any of our other committees or council, membership things like parks and planning, etc., everyone should be receiving a copy of this. And once the Borough Council has approved this, then everyone will be expected to adhere to these rules.
There's no need for any of us to sign that we've read it or that we agree to it.
That's up to council. If you all want that to be a stipulation, that's perfectly fine. It's up to you all.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand what she was asking.
She was asking, we don't have to sign it unless we feel we think it's necessary that we all have a signed statement to this effect. Okay?
Well, I'm not gonna sign it, so.
Well, that's all right. We haven't decided if we're gonna do that. Does that answer your question?
As your leader.
I know. And now, without further ado,
I'm waiting for an announcement when
I would just like to say, welcome, President.
My apologies to the council and the assembled for my tardiness.
Thank you. It was a bit of a surprise for me, but and without further ado, I'm going to pass this on to Joe, but you need to see where we're at. I don't think I took your, yes, that's mine.
On K, we're on K.
We're on K, which is Finance Advisory Committee meeting. And this is the point in the meeting where we are going to be changing things around a bit. So Rebecca, maybe you would like to address that, and then Joe can get his bearings.
Sure, absolutely. So as council passed by resolution, so everybody's on the same page, committees of the council, we have 3, finance, personnel, and public works, public welfare. As they'll be meeting now during our regular council meeting, this would be the point in the meeting where now we will do a 30-minute shuffle, 30-second shuffle, sorry, 30-second shuffle, where the members of the first committee that's going to be meeting, which is the Finance Committee, will move from the dais down to the committee table. They will hold their committee meeting here at this table. The rest of council who is not on that committee will still remain here on the dais, and will have a chance to ask any questions of the committee at the end of each of their deliberations. And then we will do another 30-second shuffle to go to the next committee meeting and so forth.
I think I took your thing and started writing on it. Okay, first is finance.
First is finance.
Are you ready?
Well, thankfully,
moving down here now.
Oh, I see. Very well.
Oh, fine.
There is a cord or a wire there, so
Thank you.
just be
I won't
careful
even go near it.
everyone.
I'll sit over the end.
No, she's not. Frankly, given the agenda items for finance advisory, I would be surprised if this takes longer than the shuffle to get down here. All right. So, to begin with, discussion and approval of March and April finance reports. Since we only had the one meeting in April, have we all had a chance to review? Certainly I have signed the checks.
I will move to approve the March and April finance reports.
Any discussion?
I'll second that.
All right, motion and second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, and then I asked Rebecca to bring us up to speed on the presentation of where our suggested follow-up items are on the audit. Do you have that, Rebecca?
Mm-hmm. All right. So, and I just want to take this as a moment, of course, during the finance committee meeting to say that you didn't necessarily have any questions for him for the finance report, which is perfectly fine. But this is Luke Pennington officially. He is our new finance officer, so we welcome him to the borough. He's been here now a month and a half.
Okay.
Yes.
Still haven't had a chance to meet every time I come in to sign checks. I think I'm in lunch. Yep.
All right, so following the presentation that was given by SEK CPA firm, Krista Gardner was the one who gave that presentation to council back in January. That presentation included a list of opportunities, challenges, things that that the borough can be working on. And I want to just differentiate between the first list that was given to us by the CPA in terms of our material weaknesses or things that we generally will get a list of with any audit. We received a list of things that get adjusted at the end of an audit, both in their system and in our system. Those things like if like we had a fund transfer that was missed throughout the year, that gets done as an entry with the regular audit follow-up. Same thing like a sale of property had to be classified differently than it was originally, so that was reclassified as part of the audit process. They also mentioned to us challenges with some of the bank reconciliations that had not been completed for 2022, but those were then completed as, again, a part of the audit process. And with Luke on board, he has been great about keeping up monthly with our bank reconciliations, and has been doing a great job at it too. So those were the items that were, I guess, what our auditor considers to be typical of things that would come out of any audit. The suggestions that were given to us in terms of opportunities for advancement, so to speak, one of them being looking at accounting software, specifically on the payroll side. And that's something that certainly I think the borough is interested in. I think the timing right now is more about certainly having Luke get up to speed on our systems that we have currently in place, and being able to determine what we think the weaknesses are with the current system and if that merits a move to another one. The other suggestion, or the other two suggestions, one of them we have basically already taken care of again through the audit process, was the developing of a tracking mechanism for escrow when we're doing development projects that involve escrow. Our bookkeeper has worked primarily on creating that. That was before I even came here to the borough. And then, of course, our borough engineer also tracks any of the large development escrow for any of the large projects that would involve our engineer. And then one of the other suggestions was the fund and account structure analysis, and that involves the idea of potential, and it's more of a philosophy, at least that's how she explained it to us, was that it's a philosophy how you feel about how you feel about structuring the accounts, having more accounts that are more specific or having larger accounts that have more funds in them. So that's something that we're looking into, and as Luke's getting up to speed on everything, we're looking at what possible changes that we could make, and we're certainly looking forward to continuing to get feedback from the auditors about that. In terms of the question of course, everyone's going to ask, where is the 2022 one? We did have a call with Krista, the CPA at the firm, on Friday. We should be expecting it soon. And I know that that's not an ideal answer, but that's what she said. And she feels very badly that this has happened. They are behind on a number of municipal audits. We are in the same boat as a number of their clients. And of course, we were one of the last audits to occur last year as well. And that is mostly due to the fact that our auditor the year before had dropped doing municipal clients, so we had to scramble at the end of 2022 in order to get a new firm on board. So that's where we're at right now. The auditing firm has concluded all of their field work for 2023, and they expect it in the next month or so for them to be able to do the follow-up for that audit. Both first a meeting here in person, and then of course a meeting to present to council. So that is where we are at this point. I'll take any questions.
Luke, are you open to questions?
Sure.
So we've talked about a number of things. Obviously, you need a chance to get settled and get comfortable with where you're at. Do you have any idea how you are prioritizing the various items that she brought up during her presentation? Whether it is new accounting software or looking at account structuring, which of those would you recommend prioritizing?
Definitely trying to do everything like the fund, trying to track all the funds and see where that's going. I think that's probably priority number one, and everything would probably trickle down from that.
Very good. And when you say the final presentation, Rebecca, for the 2023, or not the final presentation, when they are coming back in a month for 2023, is that when we're expecting a presentation of the 2023 audit result?
No, sorry. What we will expect at that point is a meeting with us, and then last year it was Councilmember Gerber who joined us for that meeting. So we will do that meeting first, and then we would have a presentation following that. If I remember correctly, last time it was a meeting in December, and then the presentation was January.
Presentation was January, that was the first meeting.
Yes.
All right, I don't have any other questions.
No.
No? All right, told you it wouldn't take long. I believe that is it for the Finance Committee.
So this can be the time that you can open it up to council if they have any questions.
That's not a terrible idea. Does the council have any questions? Linda? All right. In that case, personnel advisor, you want to shuffle your way up here? I don't know who's keeping in their seat, if anybody.
So we currently have 3 openings on the top commission, but we are fortunate to have 2 people that actually put in applications. So there is a Nicole Bezick, and there's Jillian Healy. Both of them I would like to accept tonight if possible. So I would like to vote on the appointment of Jill Healy to the Parks Commission to fill one of the vacancies. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, and then same thing for Nicole Bezick.
So sorry. Could we get that motion in second? We just
Oh,
didn't grab those
yes.
words.
So for Jill Healy, anybody want to put a motion?
I'll make a motion to appoint Jill Healy
You second
to
it.
the Parks Commission.
We all said aye, nobody opposed. Okay, we'll move on to Nicole Bezick. Is there anyone?
I'll make a motion
Make
to.
a motion, and your second, all in favor? Aye, anyone opposed? Now upon that, we are also going to accept the resignation of Brooke Magni, from Parks Commission Chair. Anybody wanna?
I have a question on that. Is she just stepping down then in that position? Is she remaining on?
She's not remaining on Parks, she is resigning completely.
Okay, she's resigning. So do we have someone at this time to replace her?
Well, at this time, we have so many vacancies that they don't even have a quorum to vote. So now that these two gals came on board, now they'll be able to vote to find a chair, to figure out who chair is. So at the very second, we don't have a chair now.
I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of Brooke Magni.
Okay, I'll second that. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, and then I believe Miss Melissa is here to update us on police hiring.
Sure. Can I do it from here?
Sure.
We would totally love if you wanted to come all the way up here. Thank you.
Right. Excuse my dress tonight. It was kind of very informal coming from somewhere else. So here we go. On behalf of the Civil Service Committee, we'd like to update you and give you a little progress report on where we are with the hiring activity or the interviewing activity and the interview process that's been going on over the past six to 8 months, and then before that, a year and a half. All right. We are making progress with the hiring process and would like to share an update. Chief Markovich and Detective Lieutenant Scott, along with all of our interviewing panels, have put in a lot of work. We thank them for that. We are down to 4 possible candidates on the eligibility list was posted in the lobby. Background investigations are just about complete for the 4 candidates on the eligibility list, and then we will have all results when we meet on the 20th at our regular civil service meeting. At that time, we will make a decision and come up with a final ranking, and we would like to be on the agenda, we're asking to be on the agenda for the next council meeting on the 28th, where we will be prepared to present 2 candidates to council and make the recommendation that council offer conditional employment to replace the 2 retirements that we have right now. Once this is offered, we are able to officially get them enrolled in the academy. At this time, we seem to have a good faith, possibly 2 spots. There's a good faith holding them, but we need to go through the process and make sure. And is there anything else I missed, Chief?
You got it, nailed it.
All right. So you need me to go over any of that again, or you get most of that? All right. So we're just trying to keep the process going.
So we'll see you at the next meeting
At the 28th? Great, thank you.
Thank you.
On to the next one.
When we have somebody approach, which microphone is live?
Both of these are live.
All right.
Ideally, this one.
Okay, so in the event we have another presenter, if you could step over to the microphone over there, do bear in mind this is being recorded. I don't need to stand there on our live stream and just not have any sound going out. Public Works.
Public welfare and public works.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the Public Welfare and Public Works Advisory Committee. And the first item under there is the review of the monthly codes report. Rob, what would you like to tell us? And then I have a question.
About the report or
Rob.
it's,
Not anything you'd like to tell
Rob.
us.
Rob.
our monthly codes report, if you guys have any questions on it, same basic things, permits are coming in, we're still doing rentals. They're getting better, so there's improvement there. But if there's any kind of questions about the report, if you
No,
want to ask
I thought the report was very thorough and very good, and as it always is, because absolutely everything is listed with the addresses and permits and problems. One thing that I would like to bring up this evening, and I'm sure some others would like some answers to this too. I've noticed around the borough, a number of places where we have very high weeds and grass. And this, of course, is in our ordinance, about that. So I would like to know what you're doing at this time to deal with that situation.
So the way our quickie tickets work is they first get a 10-day notice, which is sent out as a warning notice. They get one of these per calendar year. Unless there's like a hardship within the family or anything like that, we usually give one.
Now, do you drive around and give these, or someone
Wow.
has to actually call and say, hey, my neighbor?
We take complaints, and I keep a log when I'm driving around. So if it's not like, it's closed, it's closed. We just, we give time for them to cut if it's been raining, bad weather, so forth. So it is a waiting period, but obviously when it gets like this, there's an issue.
Just explain that waiting period so everybody is familiar with how that works with these.
So the first one is a 10-day warning notice. They get 10 days to comply. If they don't comply within that 10 days, they get a $50 citation, which is by this, which does go out certified mail to them. And this is repetitive if they violate it again within that 1 year time frame. So then that's 15 days. They have to pay the fine and cut the grass or weeds. And then after that, we would cite them at the district justice if we thought it was appropriate. And then after that, in our property maintenance code, we have an actual ordinance on it, which states that the borough can cut that grass within 5 days after that time period is up, which goes off with a certified mail when they sign for that receipt. If they don't sign, it's on the day we get it back, or their 15-day time period.
So where are we on 466 or 481 or whatever
That
it
is
is?
two days away from their first 10-day notice. So that's their only warning notice they got. If it's not cut on the 17th, we will be issuing that second notice, which is a $50 fine. They got 15 days to pay and cut if nothing's done. We would go to the district justice at that time with a citation. And then 5 days after we get that certified mail back, we would send our public works crew out to cut the grass and then bill the property owner, which explains in that handwritten ordinance about what we would charge them for the time, and then 10% on top of whatever that final bill is.
This is all really well and good, but I have to tell you that when everyone knows what that we're all to keep our lawns, cut, and week after week after week after week, houses just sit there, it really upsets the neighbors. I just want you to know the citizenry gets really upset.
So once, with like that ordinance states, we can, if it's still out of hand, it does state in there about coming to a council meeting and being able for borough council to decide on if we want to give them any more grace periods with that $50 fine. But it can be, if we read over that ordinance, we can figure something out at that point if it gets out of control. But I think we'll get them hauled in, and hopefully we don't have to wait another 15 days.
We have several of them, correct? We have what?
A couple. There's a couple out there other than that other address that are a little slow behind.
Are there any other questions for Rob? Thank you very much, Rob, for the report.
Thank you.
Next is a discussion of parking, sign adjustment on North Prince Street. This is basically the public hearing on that. And this information was all online. This is also to amend the Code of Ordinances of the Borough of Millersville to revise residential parking permit regulations. Do any of you have any questions? Have you read it?
I did read it. I have no questions. It's pretty clear.
Okay. Does anyone here have any questions about that? Then, since there are no questions about this, we will be voting on this at our next meeting, not tonight. That will give everybody an opportunity to get online and read it, and if you have any questions, then you will be able to bring them to the next meeting. The next item then is a discussion of vacant property ordinances. everyone should have received an ordinance that has been prepared by our solicitor. We are having some issues with vacant properties and abandoned properties. And everybody has this everywhere, so it's not something that's just particular to Millersville. So this is something that I would like to ask everyone on council to review. Not just our committee, but everyone on council needs to review this vacant property ordinance. And then we will need to, at our next Public Works meeting, discuss any questions that anyone has about this ordinance or things that you think need to be changed or included, what have you, but it should be done by the next meeting. And then that way we can review this in order to put it up for a vote at a later time. It would not get voted on tonight, because there may be things that we want to amend or change, so we have to all review that. Now, the last item on here is a discussion of false alarms, and this is to be in review status. Thank you, Rebecca. At our last Public Works meeting, we asked Rebecca to look into the possibility of having a resolution instead of an ordinance to deal with false alarms. And one of the reasons we asked for that was because with the data that we had received, we felt that we did not have enough false alarms to warrant an ordinance. And that Millersville University and Student Lodging and Blue Rock were finally starting to work together to cut down on some of the false alarm issues. So our solicitor said that a resolution won't work. And that's because Blue Rock can bill the offending person for a false alarm, but without an actual ordinance to back it up, there is no recourse for Blue Rock if it isn't paid. You know, they can fine them, but if they don't pay it, there's no recourse. The collected data doesn't support the need for an ordinance. We all discussed this at our last Public Works meeting. Fees can only be done by having an ordinance. So without an ordinance, they cannot charge these fees. Therefore, we need to pull out the original ordinance that was written by our solicitor and see if our feelings have changed about any of the issues that are in there or have changed our thoughts about any part of an ordinance. It boils down to our choices are the ordinance or do nothing. It's hard to make an ordinance when the data doesn't support it. However, we all know, and we have listened to many people from Blue Rock about the issues, and of course, they are the ones that are demanding an ordinance. We have asked repeatedly for data supporting the need for this. We get stuff from the university that's spot on, but I hate to say it, Blue Rock's is not. And since Blue Rock also covers Manor Township, they tend to include false alarms coming from outside of the borough. Well, we're only concerned about the ones that happen in the borough because that's what we're dealing with. Anyway, it's hard to make an ordinance, so I need all council members to review the false alarm ordinance and let me know your thoughts. At our next Public Works meeting on June 11th, we will need to discuss our findings and make a decision to move forward or have no ordinance. This will then go to full council on June 25th for a decision. But we have gathered all of the information at this point that we can get. We have to now decide on an ordinance or no ordinance, because a resolution will not work.
Have we asked them to, time has gone by since we got the last information, where it was only two
in 2 months.
2 in 2 months. So from that time, have we asked for yet another update? I mean, if it continues to just be like 2, I mean, it really isn't, anybody can come in and start yelling, I want an ordinance, but if there's no facts behind it, I just don't.
I can honestly say that I have not received any additional, but then I have not asked for any additional data. I got all of the data for January, February, and the first part of March, but now we're in May. And in all that first part, we only had 2 false alarms.
You probably need to ask Dwayne
So,
again.
yes,
Get an
again and again. I will ask him for more so that by the time we talk about this some more, we will have maybe some more data. And I expect that some of it will be going down because university is out now. School's over, so it's a hard time frame to figure.
Well, from the last time,
Yeah, from the last one.
over a month ago.
Does anyone from council or chief, do you have anything you'd like to ask about this false alarm business?
No, I'm just glad to hear you got some data, and the fact that you're telling me it's 2, I think you're seeing a bunch of things come together now since the whole thing started.
Yeah.
It sounds like things the university is doing now, that has come.
Which they did a
And
lot.
that's actually a very positive thing, even if there is no ordinance, what this created, the discussion and them working together, it sounds like it's brought it way down.
It has, and because we insisted upon having the data, because basically what we told them was, if you don't give us the data, we're not going to do an ordinance. Because you can't do an ordinance without knowing what's really going on. And it has dropped significantly since Blue Rock, MU, and Student Lodging have been working together. There's a big significant change. So I think we're heading in the right direction, and I don't want Blue Rock to think under any circumstances that we are not dealing with this. But the fact that they are demanding an ordinance does not mean that we have to pass one. Any questions?
Councilmember Giverson, do we know if Blue Rock has addressed any of their concerns with the township supervisors over in Manor?
Manor Township has a false alarm ordinance. So therefore, Blue Rock feels that when they have false alarms in the township, they've got recourse to handle it. And they don't have that in the borough. That's why they've been after us for an ordinance. So I think they've worked it out with the township.
A lot of the information that we had gotten from Blue Rock included the township.
Understood.
So it was really skewed. And it looks like, maybe township has a problem. Maybe the township has a problem, but Manor Township, compared to us, it just doesn't.
That's my impression as well, which is why I wanted to make sure that they're also addressing this with the correct individuals. But if they have recourse in township, and that's where the majority of their alarms are coming
That's where
from.
it seems to be.
Certainly we can review it, but like you said, I'm not sure the data supports.
But we're not going to drag this out forever. Borough Council will need to make a decision. And that's why I'm asking everybody to read the ordinance so we can discuss it and then make a decision about whether we do or do not need an ordinance based on the facts and the data. Okay, and that's everything for Public Works.
I have it on my screen, but I'll take a physical.
Phyllis has
Phyllis, you want to pass those down? I don't know.
These were the code of conduct.
Code of conduct?
No, the 2 ordinances that we.
I don't, okay.
Yeah, just last one.
There we go. So many papers in front of me now. All right. Now that we've concluded the individual committee meetings, I believe we move on to the mayor's report. Mr. Mayor?
Well, from this week, I'll wait till 2 weeks.
All right, very good. In that case, someone who I know has some stuff to talk about in the manager's report. Rebecca?
Yeah, always gonna have something probably. All right, so the first item on the manager's report should look familiar to everyone. This was discussed at the last Borough Council meeting, the addition of a ball field 2 to our park. Right now we have ball field number 1, and there's a fee for using that per season, per league. It was requested by the Parks Commission for now that the ball field number 2 is being more well maintained and we're actually using it now, that we establish a fee for a league to use ball field number 2 per season, and then of course if it's also rented with a pavilion. So this was discussed, again, this came out of Parks Commission, then went to the Finance Committee, and has come to council and is ready for approval. This resolution was advertised in the newspaper, put onto the website, and is ready for council's deliberation this evening.
Very well. Does anybody have any questions or anything they'd like to discuss associated with the fee for ball field number 2 at Freedom Memorial?
I'm curious, what is the fee, do you know?
Sure, so the fee will be, if council approves it this evening, ball field number 2, for one season, so for using it for the entire season, for the league would be $225.
I'll move then that we accept the fee for the Freedom Memorial Park Ball Field 2 at a fee of $225 per season.
Second. Very good. We have we have a motion and a second from Linda. All those in favor, please indicate so by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
All right, thank you. The next item for the manager's report is the awarding of the contract to Reamstown Excavating, Inc. for the ADA Ramp Street project. As you recall, a while ago, council approved the advertising of this project to occur this summer to update the ramps, the ADA ramps in the borough at a number of our intersections. We brought this back in front of council to discuss a budget adjustment, knowing that prices had gone up significantly, and we were trying to prepare for that. And we are thrilled that the lowest responsive bidder for this project, now that it has been out to bid and then closed, came in $60,000 under.
Ooh, wow.
Yes. So we are looking for council to approve the awarding of the contract to Reamstown Excavating for $206,900. Kyle, did I miss anything?
I don't think so.
All right.
So moved.
Second.
Take that money and run.
That's right.
Very well. All those in favor, please indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion carries with a motion from, was that you who moved, Linda? And a second from Phyllis.
Perfect, thank you. The next item for the manager's report is approval to advertise 3 positions that are ready to be advertised for. I will start with the part-time park laborer position. We have 2 part-time laborer positions in our street department, and one of the gentlemen who has been serving as a part-time laborer for a number of years is ready to hang up his hat and be done at the end of the month. So we are looking to fill that position. Secondly, we're looking to fill the position of sewer plant operator. If you recall, back in January, we accepted the retirement of Tim Ebaugh, who was our sewer plant operator. One of our sewer plant operators. There we go. So it has been vacant since then, and now that we were able to successfully hire and fill the maintenance 1 position in the street department, we're looking now to work to fill this position in the sewer department. And I should note too that the job descriptions for both of those have remained unchanged. And then the final one is police secretary 2. This is in anticipation of the retirement of the individual serving in this position in August. So in preparation for that, we're looking to start advertising for this position. The job description for that position did change in that was discussed by the Personnel Committee at the Personnel Committee's last meeting and was also approved by the union. So those are the positions that we are looking to advertise at this time.
I move that we advertise the 3 positions for these borough positions.
And I'll second.
Moved by Phyllis and seconded by Linda. All those in favor, please indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries.
All right, thank you. We'll be hopefully coming to you with success on those soon. The next item for the manager's report is discussion of the Lancashire County Planning Commission review of the short-term rental ordinance on June 10th and decision on a public hearing date. So, as you all are probably already aware, the Lancashire County Planning Commission reviews anything related to zoning, and our short-term rental ordinance does fall into that category of being a zoning ordinance. It's a text amendment, but it is a zoning ordinance. So this does fall into the realm of being reviewed by the Lancashire County Planning Commission. At council's last meeting, or actually I think it was 2 meetings ago at this point, council approved for this ordinance, or this draft ordinance, to be submitted to Lancashire County Planning Commission for their review. They are given 45 days to review this before council has the opportunity to then go ahead and act on it. The option at this point, let me back up for a second. So they have scheduled this, they being the planning commission, or the planning department at Lancashire County, has scheduled this for June 10th for the Lancashire County Planning Commission's review. This does fall outside of the 45-day window. So the option is to bring for public hearing and subsequent vote on either June 11th or June 25th to council. Now you might be saying, June 11th is very soon after June 10th. Are you all going to be prepared to vote on it after it just being reviewed by Lancashire County Planning Commission? And according to Lancashire County Planning Commission, because this is, in their eyes, more of a simple text amendment to a zoning ordinance, they expect to give little to no feedback. So council has the option basically to wait for their review and wait to receive anything after the 10th. Or technically, it's past the point at this time because we really would have needed a little bit more notice, but we could have technically voted on this on May 28th. But to give turnaround for the advertising, since this is an ordinance, it has to be advertised as such. June is our option. One of the June meetings is the option at this point. And in talking with council president, he was interested in getting council's thoughts on what date you would like to bring forward that ordinance for a public hearing.
If I understand you correctly, the Lancaster County Planning Committee will not really make changes or do anything. Is that correct? They'll just take the ordinance as it's been written by our solicitor, and since we have approved that already, they'll accept that. Is that correct?
Essentially, that's what they put to me in a message was they don't typically spend much time on municipal text amendments. They spend more time discussing map changes or comprehensive plans or things like that, so that we should expect little to no feedback.
If they were to provide feedback, is there a window during which time that would be provided? Can we expect that by the 11th or presumably not?
The difficulty is they said that they could turn around typically within like 48 hours. The difficulty is that for our agenda purposes, we have to post the agenda 24 hours in advance of the 11th. So that puts us in a slightly tricky position.
Okay, any visible disadvantages to waiting until the 28th? 25th.
Sorry, 25th.
My apology. Yeah. Does anybody see any disadvantages just to waiting an extra 2 weeks?
I don't think so.
I prefer to give it a little extra time, so I will move. Do we need a motion on that? No.
Not really.
Okay.
Not really formal action.
Yep. All right. Then let's do it that way, if you don't mind, please.
June 25th. Got it. Okay. The last item is simply an announcement. The Park Commission met last week. to discuss more of the advancement on the park master plan that URDC, the consulting firm, is helping us with. As part of the collection period still for input for the park master plan, we are collecting survey submissions for a variety of questions related to the park. This survey has been posted on our website on the main page, or on the main homepage, I should say, and physical copies are also available in the office. We are asking that anybody who wants to submit the survey to submit it back to the office by May 24th. All residents are welcome to submit a survey. It's not a very long survey. It takes you about 5 minutes or so. But we encourage everyone to give us some feedback as the consultant is working on putting together a preliminary Parks Master Plan. That's on the website. We do have physical copies here. And that's all I got.
Discussion on that last point from anybody on council? Very well. No, Mayor Achel didn't have anything in his report. All right, just a couple of items from me. Once again, apologies for my tardiness. I did not get the reminder email that was sent out at 10 o'clock today until I sat down and opened my computer here, so my apologies there. One thing I would like to address was some action that was requested of council just a couple of days after our last meeting. As you know, it's been in excess of a month since the last time we met. But our State House representative, Representative Smith-Waddell, reached out to me on behalf of the organization here in the borough, the Loft. They were seeking some grant money and wanted to have a letter on behalf of the Borough Council in support of their grant, not appeal.
Going after the grant.
Yeah, they were going for the grant. The application is the word I'm fishing for. We did not have time to meet and vote on this matter. I didn't have time to bring it up in public. I did reach out individually to members of council where I could, because this required a 48-hour turnaround time because of the vagaries of grant applications in the state of Pennsylvania sometimes. But we recognize the Loft as an example of our credo being a community of neighbors, of their civic mindedness. I was enthusiastic in my praise, and it seemed to echo the sentiment of every member of council that I spoke with on the matter. So since it was a motion that was, or since it was an action that was carried out on behalf of Borough Council, I simply wanted to make sure that the public was aware that this happened. The letter is out there. It bears my signature and speaks on behalf of council in favor of the Loft. Outside of that, I am simply sorry that I missed the discussion on the code of conduct. I don't know how lively that got. I imagine at least a little. But I'll get caught up on that when I read our minutes. Otherwise, that's it for my report. Do we have any unfinished business? No? I'm sorry. We do have a second instance of providing opportunity to our citizens to approach with any requests or concerns they might have. Reminder, there's a 5-minute time limit, and we ask that you step to one of the microphones for the recording or the live stream, as the case may be. Any members of the assembled here would like to address council on any matter?
And where do I stand?
Right up here at the podium would be ideal.
My name is Stephanie Hirsch. I'm at 72 Blue Rock Road. Just wanted to comment on the meeting tonight, if I may, just on what I perceive. I thought it went very well. My one comment would be sometimes it was a little difficult to hear with the committees here. My husband is listening on live stream, so I'm anxious to hear what he has to say about the voice and so forth. I don't know if it's my age or what, but just sometimes the acoustics is just a little, when someone turns their head or says something, or they look at somebody and they're not directly speaking in the mic. So I just wanted to mention.
And you don't have any issues hearing from Paula?
pretty much everybody. Sometimes if the mayor looks over, maybe doesn't speak quite as loud.
It may be that when we're sitting at a dais, we use our outside voices. When we're sitting around what is essentially a dining room table, we maybe
Yeah, I was just asking
speak a
her
bit more
back to see,
quietly.
can you just switch it back to, we just sit here.
Maybe we cheat the chairs out a little bit more toward the crowd too. But we can discuss.
Yeah, I just thought, if I don't say it, it's probably something I would want to say, so.
Thank you,
But
Ms. Hirsch. We
really,
appreciate the
I thought
feedback.
Overall, I think it went well, just to be able to hear the committees and come to one meeting.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Any other members wish to address the council?
Yes.
Sir? I can have you, and I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I didn't understand what you meant, the loft. What are you talking about?
Oh, sure. So the loft is seeking grant funding from the state to perform building improvements and provide additional services for the borough and the surrounding region. So in order to get that grant, they have to apply. As part of the application process, they solicited letters that would speak on their behalf for the secretary involved with making the judgment on whether or not the grant would be approved or not. So the church where the loft works out of provided such a letter. Our state representative, Representative Smith-Waddell, also provided a letter. And they thought to ask the Borough Council to similarly provide a letter to strengthen their case as the Secretary makes his decision on whether or not to provide grant funding to the loft.
I could add to that.
By all means, Mike.
I volunteer there. My wife is in charge of it. She's there many days a week. They serve, it's a food security program. They serve over 350 families weekly, and that's more than 900 people, considering the kids. So they're doing good work there, and the state considers them, when they visit, the model of a program like that. So they're doing good work for our community.
Yeah, and it was my thought that as a model of that kind of sort of civic-minded, public good forward work, it would reflect well on council to provide some words of support in order to help them expand their operations and provide additional support, get some repairs done so that they can have a little bit more infrastructure in the building where they're at. All right. If that's it, we'll move on. Any reason for us to move to executive session? I don't believe so. Very well. In that case, do I hear our favorite motion of the evening, a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion to adjourn.
Motion by Linda, seconded by Darlene. All those in favor, please indicate so by saying aye. Aye. All. Yeah, I thought not. We stand adjourned.
Hey, I'm an old timer. When they said the loft, I meant that gay bar. I just wanted to make sure.
And we did just end the line.
And so